So recently, I was kind of in the mood to check out a little bit of the finale of DuckTales 2017, as well as check out some, moments from DuckTales 2017. And one of the things that got suggested to me because I had looked up, the finale, at least the end credits, and some of the crossovers that they did, like with Tailspin and all them, is I got a compilation video suggested to me of Della Duck being hilarious. And it was just, I think, what was it, like 10 minutes of Della Duck having some of her, I guess you could say, hilarious, funny moments and everything that, could definitely get a laugh out of you. I mean, her basically insulting Gyro, when one of his, inventions, fails again, and all that, and saying he doesn't have the, whatever to pass the exam for to be a human being, and you have Louis being like, "Wow, Mom, you kept that, I guess, number of insults, built that number of insults up for a while, huh?" And then her response is, "Hey, somebody makes you eat black licorice for over a decade. You come up with some insults too." So basically, they were highlighting a lot of Della's, hilarious moments, outrageous moments, and stuff. And there's no doubt that, right off the bat, when you get to know who Della is, even when she's trying to get off the moon and back home, and even afterwards, you can definitely tell that this is a mom, this is a character, as a mom, I should say, this is a character as a mom that's very, very adolescent, in a way. Like, she has to learn, she's basically learning to be a mom on the job. She's basically OJT. She's basically OTJing, if you will, OTJing, as a mom, throughout the series. Because basically, again, you could tell she's very she's very, her mindset basically is like very adventurous, rebellious, and very adolescent. I mean, the fact that she even mentions right off the bat that, no, Huey, Dewey, and Louie's names were supposed to be Jet, Rebel, and Turbo, because, that represents, who she is. She's very rebellious. She's a very jet-setting kind of individual, very turbo, very, all this kind of stuff. I mean, basically the fact that she fell for a trap, as we find out later on in the finale, set up by Bradford to, basically fly the ship of Selene, if you will, into space, even against Scrooge and Donald's, I guess you could say the reasonings. It shows how, it shows the kind of character she is. And to me, I think there could have been so much more done with this girl. So much more. I mean, like I said, throughout the series, we do get an idea of, what she's capable of. We get an idea of how, hilarious, outlandish, adventurous, she could be. How much she can really have stuff in common with her kids and all that. I mean, she even goes into a virtual reality and portrays herself as a different character, but it's her, but she's like giant size now in a mech suit and stuff like that. And to me, I think Disney with the DuckTales reboot were just tipping the iceberg with Della, throughout her run. They were just tipping the iceberg. It's like, it's like you were scratching the surface, if you will, with the character. And like I said, there was so much more you could have done with her. So much more. In fact, some people artistically on DeviantArt and Patreon, like Corona, whatever, I think that's the name. They basically even envision, and others have done this as well, envision Della possibly being someone that would, maybe, go the Yucky Duck route. I mean, in case you guys don't know what Yucky Duck is basically the slime girl alter ego of Goslin from the original Darkwing Duck from the episode Slime Okay, You're Okay, where she temporarily got turned into a slime girl and was basically losing herself almost completely to the effects of the slime, to where she didn't even know who was who, and all she ever was hungry and everything. And it's like, it's like a lot of people look at Della as someone that could, be in that kind of, situation to where she could do something like that. But, being Della, she could have more fun with it. She could explore more the, avenue, more of the direction, more of the avenue and direction she could go with the powers and everything. Like maybe even splitting herself in two or melting down and whatever and stuff like that. It's just, again, stuff like, like doing a Yucky Duck scenario with her, a lot of people feel would have fit her character. And not just that either. Even without the Yucky Duck doing a story similar to that, being, Della being the focal point, if you will, being affected. But there was other things, like, you could have her turn into a girl that, you could have her temporarily get powers of a liquid slime girl and, a shapeshifter where she could just shapeshift into whatever she wants, like turn into a car, turn into a car, turn into, clothing to blend, to help, like let's say her son blend in or stuff like that, whatever the case may be. There's so much that when I look, at Della and I mention these things, I'm thinking, again, Disney was just scratching the surface with her. They were just scratching the surface with her in a major, major way. And we never got to see any of that afterwards. Now, I'm sure, apparently, according to some reports, that stories involving her probably going through these kind of scenarios were done in podcast form, and that's great and all that. But, to me, if the show had continued in animated form, there was so much more I think they could have done. And going the Yucky Duck route, slime, or just going the Slime Girl route or the Shapeshifter route, Elastic Girl route, if you will, I think would have been, probably some of the best ideas they could have gone with, and everything. I really do. I mean, there's other stories they could have done as well. They could have explored maybe, why Della is so rebellious. Why Della is the way that she is. Why she's so, outlandishly adventurous and all that, and likes to go against authority at times and everything. And even, heck, you take a look at the episode that has Kit in there, the grown-up Kit Cloud Kicker. She even says, as, in anger, I can't believe you're making me take responsibility. There's so much you could find out more about her character. Like, why doesn't she like taking responsibility? It's like, what's her deal? It's like, it's just, there's so much potential being there, and I wish they could have explored it, even more. And I think I believe I'm not the only one that feels that way. I was even, and here's what's crazy. I was thinking about this today at work while I was, loading boxes onto the truck because they put me in shipping today. Oh, that's where I'm at now for a while, I guess, or at least until whenever. But, I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, they did an episode in the third season called Double O Duck, right? Where basically it kind of did the origins of the Rescue Rangers, from that perspective, and put a focus mostly on Gadget, and I think anybody would agree that that's pretty much what it did. But to me, I thought about this as well. I'm thinking, what? The way she is with Louie, and Louie's connection in a way with Launchpad, because I think it's Louie that has a connection with Launchpad. Or is it Dewey? One of them two. Louie or Dewey has a connection with Launchpad, I think. Correct me in the comments. But basically, I think it's Louie. I'm not really sure. But anyway, to me, I was just thinking about this. I was thinking, what? If they wanted to continue the series for another season, I could see them doing an episode where Louie wants to be a spy. Like, he reminisced of the adventure he had with Launchpad, the little spy adventure, and he would like to do that again. So maybe you have Della decide, what, that'd be a great idea. We could do something like that for Louie. Like, kind of very, very reminiscent of what, the episode The Rescue Rangers did, which is one of my personal favorites, Double O Chipmunk. And this time around, you could have Della basically dress up as the femme fatale, just enough to where Louis wouldn't even recognize his own mom. And yeah, I know it might seem controversial if they were to have her kiss him on the lips or beak or whatever you want to call it. But still, it's like, this, there's things like that to me, you could have had her do, as a character, along with everything else I've mentioned. But unfortunately, we'll never know unless Disney decides to bring the show back and revive it for another season. But we'll see. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts? What do you think they could have done more so with Della Duck in the DuckTales reboot had it continued? Do you think we could have got a Yucky Duck-like episode with her being in the role that Gosling was in the original Darkwing Duck series when it came to that situation? Do you think maybe she could have, had elastic shape-shifting powers that even allowed her to melt down into a puddle of goop or whatever? Or do you think maybe we'd find out why she's the way she is, rebellious and, very adolescent in tone and basically someone that doesn't like taking responsibility? And do you think maybe even perhaps, they could have, you could see her doing something similar to what Gadget did for Dale in Rescue Rangers or Double O Chipmunk, doing it for Louis to let him kind of, live out a spy dream that he wants, or a spy fantasy he wants to live out or something? Let me know. Let me know down below in the comments as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video, and until next time, guys, I am out.